Okay, so everyone, welcome back to the to our meeting today. For those who were the previous stream, I had to put it out because of all the technology issues we had. Sorry, I think it's the internet. There's been a bit of an issue with the internet in Nigeria, especially Lagos. I don't know if it's nationwide. I think it is because it's one of the fiber that happened. So please bear with us. We're back on the call. And I have with me Ibuku on this call as we would discuss navigating the modern workplace together today. I said earlier that I'm really thrilled about this meeting because our life is a lot about what the profession we do. Most of the time we spend 3, 4, 5 4 decades, 5 decades at the most of the time at work, and we are building something. You spend a lot of time building something, and then you might be lucky to make some mistakes and it translates into good for you, but sometimes you don't need to make some mistakes with the right information, and that's one of the reasons why this meeting is holding. And the topic Ibuku has picked today to discuss is one that could be life-saving, truly. So I'm just going to introduce you to Ibuku because I feel like you should get to know her before she takes up a time to speak with us. So Ibuku is a seasoned global HR professional. She has about 14 years of experience providing hand-to-hand people strategy and business advisory to various organizations across multiple industries and markets. Her experience spans across sections of different sectors, such as oil and gas, fintech, retail, financial services, public sector, hospitality, education, and agriculture sector. Our specialty is in helping organizations transition into highly effective ones, as well as leading organizations through an accelerated growth phase. Currently, she leads the people operation function at the One Health Fund, Nigeria, and agricultural service provided, currently working with small older firms across 10 African countries. She's helping to support these African smallholder firms to build resilient community. Her mandate is to design and implement the HR framework for the growth, sustainability, and professional development of the team as a country program transitions from a pilot country program to a growth country program. In addition to her expertise in HR, she holds solid experience in management consulting, research, data analysis. She helps organizations expand their footprint in emerging markets, conducting market research, developing financial models, develop go-to-market strategies, creating financial models, set up HR processes, systems, structures, help to recruit, help to train, and develop the talent needed for the accelerated growth phase of these organizations. Some of our notable achievements includes setting up the HR structure and framework for Smackers Limited, that's a leading hospitality chain in Nigeria. She oversaw the feasibility study of creating manual reporting and creating manual for the Bank of Industry and the United Nations Development Fund access to renewable energy. She spearheaded and worked with diverse startups and SMEs on several projects in HR, business strategy, business expansion, and re-engineering. She holds a master's degree in psychology from the University of Lagos, as well as a BSc degree from Obafemi Awolowo University on microbiology. As an associate of the Chartered Institute of Personnel Management and a CIPM approved professional, she also has a GPHR, that's a global professional license from the Human Resource Certification Institute, USA. She also has a CPHR, that's a Chartered Professional Certificate from the British Columbia and Yukon in Canada, and a strategic workforce planner by the Human Capital Institute, USA. She holds a mini MBA from Takedia. Iboko is passionate about empowering people and organizations to achieve their full potential and create positive social change. She's an advocate for the SDG 1, 4, and 8, which is to ensure that everyone gets quality education, help alleviate poverty or end poverty, and promote decent work and economic growth. She's a lifelong learner. She mentors several sects of young professionals, and she's always seeking of ways to put up her knowledge to help others and her experience to help others. And as I hand over to Iboko on this call, I'd like you to go through her profile and also get to connect with her and get to know her better. You would also have access to any other resources she put out on her profiles that could help you. So Iboko, over to you. I believe you're set for this chat. I can't see your video right now.
Yes, okay. I am. You need to allow my other device. Yes, so that my video can come up.
Okay.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good to be here this afternoon. I'm sure everyone can see me. Yeah. All right. I can still join logged in, so I will take that as a yes. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. It's good to be here this afternoon. And it's good to be able to share with everyone online some of at least some of my experience over the years, and I'll be sharing this on navigating the modern workplace, essential skills needed by young professionals. But before I start, I would want to say thank you very much, Joy, for having me. It's a privilege to be here this afternoon and to be able to share with all of the people that are connecting from different places. Right. Thank you very much for having me. And thank you for everyone who's made it to this meeting this afternoon. So I do hope that we'll make the very, very best of the next few minutes as I talk through my side. All right, so like I said earlier on, I will be sharing on navigating the workplace. Navigating the modern workplace, essential skills for young professionals. Now, you would agree with me that the workplace has sort of evolved over the years, right? From the workplace that our parents knew and worked in to the workplace where we currently work right now. Things have changed. And I'll be talking a little bit about workplace evolution, what has happened in the workplace. So I will talk a little about the past, the present, and the future workplace that would have. So in the past, in the 1700s, that was basically when the concept of a workplace was first created. So, excuse me, in 1700s, we had dedicated office buildings that were created. The first of those buildings was in London, in UK. And it was called Old Admiralty Building, and it was created to deal with, basically it was just for paperwork for the Navy across, the different empires that then the UK ruled. After that, we went on to the 20th century, where we had open plan offices. We had more people after the war, right? We had different industrial revolutions. And we moved from just having factories to like offices that we have now. More popular. From the industrial revolution to the tech revolution age. And now, and going into the future, space also has further evolved, and it's been driven by factors such as technological advance, changing social and economic conditions, shifting that move post-COVID actually has further changed. Remote and flexible work models, digital that use to transitions. Right? And earlier on about COVID, post-COVID, I'm sure some of us would have heard of VUCA. There's a new one right now that's called BANI. So we have VUCA. VUCA means the world has have volatility. Things basically are so volatile, happening at the spur of the moment. We have uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity. These are some of the factors that has that has brought about a change in the workplace as we know it. We also have, so VUCA was the thing. We also have BANI right now, the BANI world, which talks about the world being brittle, anxious, non-linear, incomprehensible. So many things are happening. Things that are happening in, Ukraine have impacts on Africa. Things that are happening in Israel, the Israel Gaza war right now has an implication for supply chains, right? All across the world. And it goes to show that now things have changed because the world has sort of become interconnected. Everything is connected to one another, and that has implications for the workplace as we know it. And what are some of those implications for the workplace? Some of the implications that we have is the fact that the world has become what they call a technology, a technology village. Things are smaller, right? We have a diverse network or a diverse talent pool right now. You have people in Nigeria that are working in the US. We have people in Nigeria that are working in the UK, that are working in China, right? Everyone working in a virtual working in a virtual office, which is one of the highlights that we have of the modern workplace. Work has gone remote, work has gone hybrid, and it has implication for the workplace as we know it. And all of these things, like I said, because they have implication for the modern workplace, they have sort of carved out what the reality is if you're working in a workplace right now. And the definition of a modern workplace right now, from all of the things that are happening around us, the world being interconnected, the world being a global village, and all of those things, the meaning of a workplace has evolved also. And a modern workplace right now is described as organizations that have embraced the reality of digital collaboration, solutions, and integration as the way of the future. So our workplace is evolving faster than ever before. There are new communication styles, there are new work environments. I talked earlier on about how people are here in Nigeria and they're working for organizations all across the world. There really isn't a barrier in the current modern workplace that we have. There is no barrier. There is no barrier to where people can work. There is no barrier to the tools that people can use to work. In fact, it is said that in the modern workplace, you have to be jack of all trades, mastering your career, and which is all about how adaptable, how versatile you are, and you need to always continue learning. What are some of the further characteristics of the modern workplace that we have? Taking a cue from all the things that are happening around us. Our workplaces right now have become virtually technological driven. There is progressive use of technology. The workplace has become more diverse and inclusive. You have multi-generations in the workplace and in the workforce right now. Multi-ethnic, multiracial. I was at a conference a couple of weeks back, excuse me. I was at a conference a couple of weeks back, and someone talked about how right now they have their nephews and their nieces in the workplace, right? Excuse me. They have their nephews and their nieces in the workplace. So in some workplaces, you have 3-4 generations working together. That is one of the characteristics, one of the things we've started to see in the modern workplace. And these people are multi-ethnic, they're multiracial. Agile, right? Modern workplaces are now much more agile, especially when you see that we are in a VUCA world or a banning world where things are happening very, very fast. So most organizations right now have sort of evolved that they are able to change, they're able to change their business lines, they're able to change their business strategies, they are able to adapt quickly to the change that is going around us. I'll talk about COVID also. In 2020, when COVID broke out, we saw how people's production lines were disrupted, how certain organizations very quickly, they understood that right now people are looking for how can they get gloves, how can they get sanitizers, and you could see that quickly.
Sorry, Ibuku, can you hear me? Sorry to cut in. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Can you open your audio for the device where you have your video streaming?
Okay, I'm unable to share.
Okay, you're unable to share your audio on that device.
Oh, okay.
Oh, perfect.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you can go on now.
All right, it's clear. All right, good to know. So as I was saying, I was talking about how part of the characteristics of the modern workplace that we have is that workplaces, organizations are becoming a lot more agile, being able to quickly adjust to external circumstances so that production is not disrupted, their services are not disrupted, their products, their product line is not disrupted. Flexible work, that's another thing that you would find in the modern workplace. We now have all manner of work types. You have remote work, you have hybrid, on-site, and all of that. because now workplaces have come to realize that in this world that we are in right now, anything can happen at any time. So the motto is be prepared, ensure that you have a flexible work structure, so that COVID taught us a lot of lessons, right? Ensure that you have a flexible work play, if I would use that, so that if anything happens, right, work is still able to go on. So you have a lot of organizations in a flexible work mode, because they realize that right now it's a fragile world, it's a very, very volatile world, it's a brittle world, anything can happen, and the workforce must be ready to ensure that irrespective of what happens out there, work continues to go on. So many workplaces have adopted a flexible work structure. Also, continuous learning. I will talk again about how COVID just brought about a lot of rollouts of technology in our workplaces, right? People start using Slack, people start using Zoom, people were using all manner of platforms to ensure that work continued. They were still able to collaborate and communicate. And this meant that a whole lot of people in the workforce had to quickly learn. So the current workplace that we have is a workplace that is known for continuous learning. You really have to continue to learn what's the new technology, what's happening in my space, what can we do differently, right? And the last characteristics I will talk about in the modern workplace. Can you hear me, Joy? Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me? Please, can you confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
All right, okay. So I talked about the characteristics of the modern workplace. Now, all of these things that I've talked about, what is the implication for young professionals in the workplace? How does all of these things impact young professionals in the workplace? First and foremost is the realization right now that the world is a global village. Another realization is that talent is evenly distributed. Unfortunately, opportunity is not. What that means is that workplaces or organizations are no longer limited in their search for talents based on their geographical location. That means that, like I said earlier on, organizations can be in UK, they can be anywhere in the world and recruit their workforce from anywhere in the world. So that means that for every young professional in the workplace, you can be replaced by talents in any geographical location all across the world. Talent right now has become unbounded, if there's a word like that. That means if I'm trying to hire, I'm not necessarily hiring for someone who is in Nigeria or who is in Nigeria. I'm not necessarily hiring for someone who is in the UK. I'm not necessarily hiring for someone who is in the US. All I need is talent, and I would look around the world to find that talent to work. So that means as a young professional, because I realized that my would-be employer could be anywhere on this globe, I must be able to align, I must be able to learn the skill set, I must be able to position myself where I can be found by an employer that is looking to hire for talent. And this means that it is war. There is a war for talent. And as a young professional, you must understand that it is war out there. It's not just someone that we finished together from Unilag that is trying to get the same job that I'm getting. Someone who finished from the University of Leeds, someone who finished from Kentucky University. We are all right now on a level playing ground. And the employer can hire from anywhere, which means that I must have the skill sets that that employer is looking for that must stand me out or distinguish me from every other talent that can be found around the world. What is another implication for the modern workplace that we have? What is the implication for the young professional? Another implication is that your formal education no longer cuts it. That I have a degree only no longer cuts it. Right? Gone are the days, let me shock you a little bit. Your class of degree, I am an advocate, of course, for people to go to school and put in their best, because of course, when you finish with the first class, there are opportunities out there, scholarships and all of that. But my point is this: your formal education is not enough. Is not the only qualification that you need to be able to work in the current workplace. That is foundation. More has to be laid on that foundation. What is another implication? Adaptability is key. You need to be able to adapt. You need to be able to be malleable, to be flexible. You need to, you need to be at your best. You need to be, as in, everything on point. You need to be adaptable. Gone are the days that people will say, oh, I'm not a data person. I'm not a tech person. Everybody nowadays is a tech person, right? Even whether you study tech or not, everyone nowadays is a tech person. But I'll even get to that as I talk, right? So you need to be adaptable and malleable. You cannot afford to just know one thing. What is another implication, or what is another realization that young professionals should know, should be aware of, is the fact that right now in the modern workplace, you have to be a continuous learner. You have to constantly learn. Learn about your craft, learn about the skills that are required, and you're not just learning technical skills, you're learning soft skills, you're learning business skills. But let me not get ahead of myself. I will talk about that. But you need to know that you must be learning and continuously learning to be relevant in the current and modern workplace. So what are some of the essential skills that you need? Sorry, excuse me. Excuse me, I have some cold, right? So what are some of the essential skill sets that young professionals entering into the workplace, what skill sets should they have? I will break down those skill sets to three major areas. The first area will be technical skills. And technical skills speak to your career path, right? The career that you're pursuing. What skill sets do you know, or how equipped are you for that career path? Do you know the career path you want to follow? Do you know the skill sets that are required? Are you learning all the skill sets that are required for that your career path, right? So your technical skills that are required for you to be able to do your work. So they've hired you as an HR person. Do you have HR technical skills? They have hired you as an accountant. Do you know accounting? Do you have the right qualifications and certifications in that field, right? They've hired you as a PR person. Do you know, how well do you know PR? The skills that are needed in PR, the technology, right? The industry that you're at, the sector. Do you have the technical skills for the workplace, for the modern workplace, in your career path, in your field? The second essential skills, I said I'll divide them into three: technical skills, business skills. Do you have the business skills to function in a modern workplace? And this is different from just your technical skills. These are skill sets, for example, digital literacy, data analysis, right? I tell people nowadays that in the future, we probably won't have people say, oh, I'm just an HR person. What you probably hear is that I'm a tech person, but I'm doing HR. I'm a tech person, but I'm into accounting. I'm a tech person, but I'm a finance analyst. Especially looking at how our workplace is evolving. These are basic financial management skills, leadership skills. These are skill sets that you need to thrive in a business environment. Forget whether you're working in the business unit or not. Do you have basic business skills to be relevant in your office, in your workplace? The third skill set I will talk about will be learning and life skills, right? These are more of soft skills that you need to survive and thrive in the workplace. So, for example, communication skills, right? Emotional intelligence, empathy, critical thinking. These are some of the soft skills that you need to be able to thrive in a workplace. Excuse me. So I will say it again. There are three basic categories of essential skills as a young professional that you need to thrive in a modern workplace. And those three are technical skills, your learning or life skills, and basic business skills. So I'll talk a little bit about those three major or categories of skill sets that you need to thrive in a modern workplace. The first is technical skills. I talked a little bit about that. Technical skills are skill sets that you need to advance in your career, right? And to be a subject matter expert in your field. So some of those technical skills will be industry knowledge. The industry that you are playing with, that you are currently, in, how well do you know that industry? Specialist knowledge. The field that you're playing in that industry, within your industry, how well do you have the skill sets? What certifications do you have? What body of knowledge, right? Each field has what is called body of knowledge, right? Those are like the basic basic knowledge that you should have within. So you're a finance person, that there is a body of knowledge that you should have, that you should know about finance, about HR, about IT, or whatever field that you are in. How well do you know the critical technical skills in that field? At your place of work, the work that you do, if they need something done and done quickly, is your name one of the top 5 names that they will call to say, oh, it's an HR matter? Yes, we know we have an HR person, but this person, when it comes to pay slips, or it comes to reward or something, this person has sense, knows this thing in and out, back to back. Can they count on you, right, to be able to speak to an idea, to contribute to an idea, to contribute to body of knowledge either at your place of work or even within the people within your industry, the people within your industry. How well do they know you? What's your T shape? So there is, what's your shape? So there is what we call different in your space, right? For professionals, there's what they call different shapes. So you have I-shaped professionals. I-shaped professionals are people that only know one particular area in their field. Any other thing outside that, let me use, for example, let me use HR, which is my field. So this person says, it's only recruitment that I know. There are different functional areas in HR. And then this person says, recruitment, oh, I know. But if you're talking about rewards, you're talking of performance management, you're talking of health and safety, you're talking of talent development, I don't know. But recruitment, I know. Every other thing, I don't know. These are people that they call I-shaped professionals. Then you have people that they call T-shaped professionals. T-shaped professionals are professionals that they are experts or specialists in one area, right? When you look at a T, they are specialists in one area, but they have, broad understanding, still within their field though, broad understanding of other areas. So that means that, yes, I am a recruitment specialist, but when you are talking about L&D, when you are talking about rewards, when you are talking of performance management, when you are talking of talent management, I understand all of those areas, even though I'm not a specialist in them. Mm-hmm. Then you have V-shaped professionals. V-shaped professionals are similar to T-shaped, but the difference for V-shaped is that for V-shaped professionals, they understand, while they have their specialist areas, they also have understanding of areas within their field that is similar to what they have specialist knowledge in. Let me give you a good example. So you have someone who is we have someone who is an IT person, right? And let's say that the person is good in hardware, networking, and all of that. But beyond networking, that person then says that, okay, in this IT space, some other areas that I would grow my skill set in is areas like probably maybe cyber security. I'm growing my understanding in artificial intelligence, right? So areas that are still within your industry or that are adjacent to your industry, or to your sector, or to your field. So you know about your field, but you also know about things that are happening within your industry or within your sector. Then you have, the last but not the least, you have professionals that they call pie-shaped or cone-shaped professionals, right? Pie-shaped professionals are people that have evolved, right? And they have expertise in at least two domains or two areas. So I have expertise in finance as much as I have expertise in HR. And then I have expertise in, let's say, maybe in data analysis. So when you're talking about finance, I'm an expert in that area. When you're talking about HR, I'm an expert in that area. When you're talking of anything data, right, data analysis, I'm a data analyst also. So you have people that are pie-shaped or cone-shaped professionals. And progressively, as the workplace changes, as the business environment transforms, employers will progressively look beyond individuals that are I-shaped or T-shaped, and they will start to look at professionals that are V-shaped or cone-shaped or pie-shaped, because these people are multi-skilled, multi-experts right? And they can work across different domains. So you need to start telling yourself that beyond even this field, what kind of professional am I going to be? What professional am I looking to? Am I going to remain an I-shaped professional? Will I be T-shaped? Will I be V-shaped? Or will I be pie-shaped? That is for you to answer. But in the future of work, which is now already, organizations are progressively looking at employees that come with multi skill sets. So I will talk about learning skills. Learning skills basically are skills that help professionals learn. And these are skill sets that are valuable in their career development and their career growth. What are some of these examples of learning skills that I believe a young professional should have when you're talking about learning skills? Problem solving and critical thinking.
Mm.
How are you able to solve problems? Are you someone that thinks outside the box? Or you are someone when there is problem at work, you major in escalating the problem but not solving it. So you are good at pointing to your line manager to say, we have a problem, we have a problem. When will you start saying, we have a problem, but I think that we can solve it? Or suggesting solutions. Anyone can identify problems, but organizations are looking for problem solvers, people who are able to think critically and are able to troubleshoot and are able to solve problems. People that have great communication skills, whether you're talking, whether you're writing, you are able to communicate very well across generations, right? Nowadays, people would always want to yab Gen Zs. And one of the things people will say is that Gen Zs, that they always be stuck. They don't know how to talk, right? They don't have respect. Well, not all Gen Zs, I must confess. I've worked with some very brilliant Gen Zs that don't have this problem. But it just seems like Gen Zs they are much more vocal, they're able to talk, right? But of course, even if you are going to talk, you must be able to talk using communication skills that are acceptable in the workplace, right? Talk. I saw someone wrote something somewhere. It says, excuse me. Someone wrote something somewhere. Talked about people using abbreviations in the place of work. LOL, talk out loud. And they're like, I don't understand. If you want to talk, talk. Which one is all of these abbreviations that they are using? And some people go as far as putting it in writing, right?
In mails.
Yeah, in emails, right? Yes, in emails, right? I am wondering, what is this person say? LOL, IWG, in my own opinion, right? I am like, write like a human being now. Not everybody understands what you're writing, right? So those are some of the things you need to be able to learn. Collaboration and teamwork. Being able to work across teams, collaborate with people, work with people, be likable, be agile, be adaptable, be flexible, be someone that, I talked earlier on about how workplaces are becoming agile, right? And able to quickly, re-strategize, quickly re-engineer their process. As someone who is working in the modern workplace, you should also be able to do that. How agile are you? How amenable are you to change? When things change, does it take you 1 century before when things change, does it take you 1 century before they have to explain to you like 10 times before you get it, right? You're someone that you're dynamic. You are able to take things and run with it. Your line manager says, oh, we're working on this today. And you're like, oh, yes, bring it on, right? Let's get into it. You are agile, you are dependable, you're adaptable, you are flexible, you are emotionally intelligent. These are some of the skills that people should have in the modern workplace. Emotional intelligence. You just don't talk anyhow. Recognizing what ticks you off, recognizing, your personality, and being able to engage with people, accordingly. Being able to read the room before you talk, being able to read people, being self-aware. These are some of the skill sets that you need to have, some of the soft skills, learning skill sets that you need to have to thrive in the modern workplace. Empathy. Empathy is putting others in your own shoes, right? As they say, do unto others how you want them to do to you, right? Being able to be empathetic towards people, understand where people are, understand their needs, and be able to relate with them. Continuous learning and growth. It is a skill set that you need to learn. Wanting to learn doesn't just fall on people. You need to be able to groom and build your capacity to learn. It is a skill set to learn, continuous learning and growth. And the last category I will talk about, still under essential skill sets, would be business skills. Business skills are skills that let you do your job and contribute to the business, allowing you to collaborate and function successfully within an organization framework. And examples of critical leadership, ability to lead yourself and others. Whether you have a team that you are leading or not, be able to lead yourself. Be a leader. Lead a leader of at least one, which is yourself. Financial management, basic financial planning skills, budgeting, profit and loss, right? Being able to read financial statements. Basic, you don't need to be a finance guru, but to be relevant in the current workplace, you need to be able to have basic financial knowledge. Digital literacy skills. I can't say enough about that, right? We're in a digital century. So definitely you need to know, you need to build your digital literacy skills, offline, online, right? Be able to use technological tools, simple technological tools in your workplace, or general tools that are used for business communication. Data analysis. You don't need to be, and I'm not saying go and be a data scientist, but in the current workplace that we are in, you need to have basic data analysis skills, irrespective of your career, irrespective of the fields that you are in. It is a critical business skills in this day and age. Basic data analysis skills. Are you able to use spreadsheets? Are you able to use Excel? Are you able to use Power BI? These are some basic data analysis tools that you need to know how to use. Research. How good are you with research? People management, being able to manage people. These are some critical business skills that you need to be able to function in the current modern workplace. So how do you develop these essential skills? I'll be rounding up very soon. I have just one more slide left after this. So how do you develop these essential skills? First and foremost, continuous learning. You learn by learning. You learn by learning. You learn by learning. You need to be able to develop your required competencies. And thankfully, in this day and age, thank God for internet, thank God for Google, thank God for Microsoft Bing, right? You have search engines, you have online books, you have MOOCs, massive online body of work that you can learn from, right? We have tons and tons of materials that are free. Let's not even talk about paying for them, that are free, that you can start to learn. online, learn from colleagues. You can see that there's someone in your office. If people need to do their spreadsheets, there is always someone that they know. There is one Doyin, there is one Chinedu. Everybody knows Chinedu. Why? Because it's a data guru. So when people are looking to analyze data, they're going to look for Chinedu. And by doing that, Chinedu has consolidated himself in a very visible position in the organization. That if you're thinking of analyzing data, Chinedu is the you to go and meet Chinedu. Say, Chinedu, how are you doing this data analysis? I want to learn. Sit with Chinedu and learn. Sit with Taye and learn. You can only learn by learning. And it starts with you wanting it enough. How much do you want it? How much do you want to develop this skill set? So develop the required competencies and skill sets. Stay informed on industry trends within your industry, outside your industry. Build meaningful networks. Learn from peers. Learn from, have sponsors in your organization, have mentors, people that you can learn from, people that, you know, when they're looking for opportunities in the organization, there are certain people, right, that they are not in rooms, but people are mentioning their names in rooms they are not in. They are looking to promote certain people. They are looking at, oh, we are starting this project, who can do this? And they are mentioning people's names, that they are in the same organization with you. Why are they mentioning their names? Because they've built networks. Why are they mentioning their names? Because they've built critical skill sets that people know that they have, that they know that they can leverage to do that work. Build meaningful network. Be visible. Don't just, people will say it's a lie. You say your work will speak for you. Yes, your work will speak, but it will speak on your laptop. Be visible. When you are in meetings, when there are meetings where you have town hall, speak. Let people not just, you are only not supposed to be seen, you have to be heard. Be visible. Open your mouth, talk, communicate. When you do that, people know what you have upstairs. Be visible, volunteer, active participation, contribute. As you become visible, as you join work streams, as you join work teams, people, you first and foremost, you develop essential skills as you work with other people, as you collaborate, and you become visible. People get to know you, and you become important in that workplace.
Okay.
Last but not the least, embrace the use of tools and technology. Don't be a technology dinosaur. That is why you are young. That is why you're a young professional. Be digital literate. Be digitally literate. Go. What are the tools that are used, you know, in the place of work? Don't wait till you get the job before you start learning those skill sets. Start learning now. Go online. Just do a research. What tools do people use for communication? What tools or technologies are well, you know, used in my field? What payroll software do people use? What financial accounting software do people use? And start learning. Start learning. Don't wait till, you know, you have the opportunity. By the time the opportunity shows up, it may be too late if you are just wanting to learn then. Start learning now. What tools and technologies are used in the industry you are currently in, or the industry you want to go in the sector or the field that you are, and start learning those tools and start learning those technology. In conclusion, as a young professional, building essential skills is a recipe for success in today's dynamic workplace. By focusing on developing critical skill sets in three major categories I talked about, which is technical skills, life skills, and business skills, you are sure to create a niche for yourself in the modern workplace, and you are sure to thrive in that workplace or whatever workplace that you find yourself. In parting, I would leave you with a question this afternoon. And I want you to write the question down and provide an answer to it. What would you start doing from today to enable you to have the essential skills required to thrive in the modern workplace? What would you start doing from today? That is a question, a passing question I'll leave you with. What would you start doing from today to enable you to have the essential skills required to thrive in the modern workplace? Write them down, but don't just write them down. Write action steps for them. These are the things I will start doing so that I'm able to build my skill set to thrive and to grow in the modern place of work. Thank you very much.
Wow. Well, I think you didn't just come to tell us about things here today. I'm so happy because you went above and beyond in explaining and giving practical steps to actually navigating the modern workplace. Because you addressed the three major parts. I believe everybody can hear me. You addressed the major parts on how to be excellent, have good business skills, and then the attitude part. Before I move on to the question, I personally have a question. Maybe I should ask that first, because like you said when you started, the work field has changed. The talent playing ground has changed. It's global now. You're not just competing as a talent with talent in your nation or in your geographic political zones or in your region. You're practically competing with talents across the whole world, really, because of the way the world has been highly taxed. But we know that where does the place of the social cultural ideologies about work come to play? Because if you happen to get a job with a British organization and you're Nigerian, there's some things that you do in Nigeria that might not cut it. If you have a British boss or even an Indian boss, and these are the things that we need to look at, especially when we're dealing with young professionals, because you have to understand that even though the way we work has changed, the tenets and principles of work of human beings have not changed. We would surely work. We would surely require performance. We would surely be inclined about persons' attitudes. We would always have our own glasses of what is expected and what is not, the means of communication, even general living in the place. You have to learn the do's and don'ts of those places. There are some things that might not be seen as anything in some places and can be really a red flag in others. So how do people address that? How do you address that to professionals, even senior professionals? Because you could be a senior professional and you could get a job or a contract or a consulting work with another organization somewhere in Ukraine. Okay, Ukraine is not working out, but maybe in Switzerland or in Bahrain or it's even India, and then you're dealing with people that have different view of life. I mean, the way they expect, the way they address, because, for example, if you have a foreign boss now and maybe in their place, when you give birth, they don't expect you to post pictures of the baby and say, oh, this and that. Everybody have their different ideologies. How do you navigate understanding, managing your attitude, understanding the people you're working with? Because it has its own downside. I believe you get my question. Managing those people and then knowing how to come on top of your job, at the same time come out the right way to your colleagues, regardless of their social or cultural positions in the world. I believe I explained the question clearly. Did you get my question?
All right.
How do you manage? Manage the different? Yes, I can hear you. How do you manage different cultural spaces in your global workforce? How do you manage that? Because I believe that's one of the emotional way of navigating the modern workplace.
Definitely. For anyone that is in a workplace, it's not just even in a workplace, right? So one of the things, and that is one, when I was talking about life skills, right? Emotional quotient, right? And intelligence quotient, right? Those are two things that you need to have. If you're going into a place for the first time, and it's not just even workplace, right? Even in the society, one of the things you need to be able to do is to be able to read the room, or understand, be emotionally intelligent enough, and you have intelligence quotient to first and foremost understand where you are. It's the same thing with when you leave the workplace, even leaving the workplace. For people that are relocating to other climes, to other countries, you need to know that when I get to Canada, there's certain behavior that is acceptable in Nigeria that is not acceptable here. And what you need to be able to do is to give yourself brain, as to use the local parlance, right? To first and foremost, when you get to an environment, seek to understand what is, and there are things that are said and there are things that are not said. Understand first and foremost the work culture in the place that you find yourself. You find out that when you see certain JGs, one of the things that, especially for roles that are global in nature, one of the things that you will typically see that people, if people pay attention, one of the things that they would see, you'll see things like being able to work in a multicultural environment. It is a skill. And what do they mean by being able to work in a multicultural environment? Meaning that irrespective of, you are someone that has been able to develop yourself in such a way that you are emotionally intelligent enough to understand that people in this organization or people in this environment that I find myself, people are here with different culture, from different cultures, from different backgrounds, right? And emotional intelligence will then tell you, both EQ and your IQ will tell you that I need to first understudy people. I need to, what are the cultural norms in this place that I found myself? What are the cultural norms, societal norms, right? You don't shake people with your left hand, right? You don't assume that people are, even though they are male or female, that they want to be addressed as he or her. You ask, right? You don't assume that because someone has a physiological look, that person wants to be addressed as a he, or you ask. Those are some of the research, the learning that you need to be able to do to understand that where I found myself, this is a multicultural environment. What gives here? What is the culture of the organization? And what are the nuances of the different cultures that are in this organization? What are like the basic do's and don'ts? In some organizations, they have like cultural training that they do for people, right? Whereby they have people from different cultures, and they're talking about the culture of that business environment, and the social culture, to say, if you are in Asia, there are certain things that you don't do, right? You don't eat with your left hand. When you're entering people's houses, you need to remove your shoes, certain things like that. So what I would say, ultimately, it still goes back to learning. When you find yourself in a new place, in a new culture, in a new work environment, be diligent enough to learn. what is going on here? How do people behave here? What are the norms? What are the nuances? What are the do's and don'ts? What are the things that are acceptable, the things that are not acceptable? And as you are learning the work, you are also learning that. I hope I answered that question. Hello, Joy. All right, I think we need to. Joy is offline. She will be back. All right. Good to have you back.
I don't know. My network just did me dirty right now. I was trying like 3 or 4 devices to get back into the meeting, and it was not admitting me. I'm so sorry. I knew you were attending to the question about the social cultural differences of different workspaces and all, and I'm sure you would have done justice to it. I have to go back listen to that on the YouTube. I feel we really had a wonderful time speaking with you today, and I'm going to wrap up in some few minutes because we're meant to end this meeting um, in 1 hour. But it's been wonderful having this chat. I'm so certain that anyone who really wants to do career and wants to join career wants to have a good career anywhere they are needs to learn these 3 skills, this basic classification of skills, the behavioral, the business, you know, and even the technical skills. And I like the fact that you spoke to the three ends properly today. So I would have asked another question because I wanted you to address the part where what happens when I was speaking on an event sometimes in some weeks ago, and I was telling them how important it was learn learn to have highly transferable digital skills because like you mentioned that we would all be in tech in the future. It's just the aspect of tech that you're handling that might be different, and even though work is the same anywhere, work is the same anywhere, it's just the way we're doing it that is different now, and it will evolve. As long as human remains, there will always be, you know, changes happening in the way we work. So my question simply is, so what if I'm not just a tech person? Because I see a lot of people say this, and I totally don't believe it's true because somewhat way we are all tech people. Some of the things we do with our devices right now were things that people went to school to learn so many years back, and but people just tell me, oh, what if I'm not a tech person? How do I don't know. I don't know how to apply tech in what I do. I feel like what I do is sufficient enough. I'm a professional and this and that and this and that, you know. So I wanted to just speak to that part, how to digitize your skills and keep learning, because if you don't keep learning in this current space and time, you fastly becoming extinct in your relevance. So please address that. Thank you. Your audio is muted.
All right, thanks. Like you said, I think that right now everybody's a tech person. If you're on social media, you post on social media, you are some people are even on they're like on 4 or 5. They're on Snapchat, they're on Instagram, they're on Twitter, they're on TikTok. You know, there are 5 social media and do 6, and they're constantly putting stuff out. So if you say you're not a tech person, I'm wondering what really do we mean by that? Because at the end of the day, right, when we say tech, yes, forget whether um we're not talking about being able to code, right? Even now, there is non-code, right, where people develop apps without even being able to code, right? From no-code app developments, right? So we're not saying that you need to develop the next Twitter or develop the next, okay, it's X now, or the next Instagram, right? What we are saying is this: you need to be able to know, to be able to use simple technological tools, right? I can imagine when COVID happened 2020, and then people say, I'm not a tech person, I cannot use Zoom. And every other person you're going online to have meetings, and then you constantly are not joining the meetings, right? People had to learn how to use it. So we are not saying that you need to be hardware a developer, or you're an hardware IT person, or be able to use JavaScript and Node, all of those things. We are not saying that, but you need to be able to use tools, because I do not see any career path that people are on right now or into the future where they are not leveraging technology to do their work. Right from even school, right? You will send emails, you will troubleshoot, you know, you will join meetings on calls. Organizations right now use use tech tools. So even if you're not using a big software, the list that you're using Microsoft Office tools, you're writing reports, you're creating slides. Those are skill sets that you need to learn. And unfortunately, there is no getting around it. The world is going to progress. Technology is going to increase. Right now, we are talking about AI, right? Artificial intelligence, and how people are already leveraging on that to do work, right? And you need to be able to see how technology will impact your career and be at the front of that. Is either you shape in or shape out. Unfortunately, I don't think there is any
Middle
way
ground
around
on
it.
that.
Someone to
Exactly.
say, I'm not able to use a finance tool because I'm not a tech person. They would hire someone who is able to use it, right? So I don't see any way around it. It's either you learn or you don't learn.
Or you go
And
home.
right now, I don't even think, even for future roles that are going to come up, I don't see how it can be devolved from tech. Right now, in the last 10 years ago, 15 years ago, what is called social media manager, what is that? 15 years ago, 20 years ago, there was nothing called social media manager. There was nothing called a digital
Creator.
media person. What is that? Right? There was nothing called influencer, a social media influencer. And technology has brought about those roles, and technology will bring about new roles. So for anyone that says I'm not a tech person, I'm sorry, I don't see a future where that person will be in a workplace, because the future of work cannot be separated from technology and the use of technology tools. It can't, unfortunately.
Okay. So that's it. I think it's just a wrap on that. I'll ask one very last question, and I think that we need to address
All
that
right.
because the speed at which you can be very agile and flexible at your skill deployment, is another thing that is going to decide or determine if you're going to last on this game the way we're going in the future of work. And while you might, we talked about the I shape and the T shape and the pie shape professionals, and this it looks like the world is actually going to need hexagon shape professionals, because you will need to pick up a lot of skills
Yeah.
along the line, because the speed at
Mhm.
which the relevance of your skill is quickly changing and evolving. Having to catch up with it requires another level of dedication and alacrity. And so I'm going to ask you a very last question. So how do I approach my work as a professional now? I mean, I studied accounting. Maybe I'm an accountant. All I've been doing is putting plug and play in Excel. How visible is that? What are your advice for me as a person, as a professional that is planning to remain relevant in the next decade, in the next 2 decades? Because I just started my career. What are your advice for me to help me be that person that could position myself rightly to be deployable regardless of what comes in the future?
All right. So I think it's going to be two major things, right? First thing first is the um, personal test for knowledge, personal test for continuous learning, right? I think that is the first thing. To be able to progress in one's career, in one's field, to become a subject matter expert, to become someone that organizations will seek for and pay top dollar for. You cannot be that without a voracious thirst for knowledge. You can't. It can't happen. So you need to first and foremost have an insatiable thirst and appetite for knowledge. and pay for knowledge. So sometimes, yes, you will get some free. Sometimes you need to pay, invest in yourself, right? Before you buy that human hair or before you buy that next pair of shoes, right? Have a budget for self-development every year to say that this year I need to learn, get one certification, one, I need to grow. Have a budget for learning. That every year you are sharpening yourself, because there is no other way to become a subject matter expert. And it is when you become a subject matter expert, you can then command and demand your wages and what you want to be paid. That's one. I think second thing, and I talked about that when I was sharing on how do people then gain these essential skills. I think the next thing would be in terms of networking and collaboration, right? One place for you to grow is to learn from your industry, right? Each industry, each sector has to a large extent, most industries, most sectors have associations, have, all of those things where people are coming together to share. This is the next thing that is happening in HR. This is the next thing that is happening in accounting, right? This is the next thing. This is the next direction for accounting, right? Be interested enough, network within your industry. Go for industry conferences, go for industry networking events, right? Get to network, build relationships with people within your industry, outside, within your organization, also outside your organization, within your industry, outside your industry. Because the truth is that going forward, skill sets will not even be limited to industries any longer. You would have skill sets that are transferable irrespective of the industry you find yourself. So you need to be at the forefront, networking, collaboration. So first and foremost, voracious test, search for knowledge. The second thing I would say is collaboration and networking. You cannot know it all. And the best people leverage on not only their knowledge, but other people's knowledge, right? So collaborate, learn, network with other people. Because at the end of the day, I talked about visibility earlier on. Even when you are the subject matter expert, when you've learned all you need to learn, there are people out there that will be the ones talking about your knowledge and recommending you to places and in spaces that even you yourself you've not gone to. So for me, I think those are two critical things people should pay attention. The first is self-development. The second is networking and collaborating.
Great response. Because I know that fantastic networking, collaboration, and your own personal drive to knowledge, your own personal drive. I see that we can't even overflow that matter, because people most of the time, even when you sit up at review meetings or at interviews, people are telling you, "Oh, how can these companies help me to grow? How can they help my professional growth, and what would they do?" I'm like, see, nobody is gonna be there to spoil you to grow. You're gonna have to want to grow yourself. We will just give you the leverage or
Definitely.
the possibility to grow. We're not going to hamper your growth, but you see, the drive to grow is entirely in your court. And this is one thing that I
Definitely.
feel that anyone who doesn't have it might not really go far if you don't have that personal drive to improve yourself, because eventually it's about the information that you have. What you have on a space, strive to be at the best, at the peak of it. While you're doing that, the other things that is going to catch your fancy for the next direction of relevance is going to find you in that level of expertise. And then from that place, you'll be able to leverage into
Definitely.
that field and keep rising from there. Because while you're networking, while you're collaborating, either within or without your space, you're going to get more information that would enlighten you to what is the next field that you actually want to plow. So if you're just sitting with what you know and just running the grind, you're not going to get the right information that you need to learn. You're not even going to know what is happening in your space. There are a lot of people that are in a profession, they're in a field, and they don't even know what is happening in their space. They don't know up to date information
True.
of what is happening in their space. So
True.
you have to have a personal drive, you have to collaborate, you have to network, and most importantly, you have to stay informed. You have to stay informed and act as fast as possible. Plan for the future. If you're already hearing things like, okay, there's something about digitizing HR. No, I was speaking about YOLO, you only look once, remote protocoling in an agile conference, and it's entirely sitting in HR. It's HR. I myself, it's not like I have all the information, but I'm constantly, I was curious, what is this? What is that? And I want to know. And I saw that, okay, this is actually HR. Because it's all in talent management. It's actually talent management. But now we're talking about digitized talent management. So if you have to, first of all, get to the best of what you do as a person, get to the best of what you're doing now, and keep your ears on the ground. And when you hear something, be curious,
Definitely.
appetite to know, to be informed, to learn, and then you will be fine. I feel like if you have those things, you'll be fine. As long as you're not
Definitely.
your horses, you will be fine. Being on this kind of meeting, you will be fine. So thank you so much, Ibuku, for this meeting. It's been top-notch information, very informative, very clear, very precise, very down to earth session we've had today. And I really want to appreciate you for coming. We're going to have you some other time later in the future. I'm surely going to buzz you back. And I want to thank you for taking time out on a precious Saturday afternoon. I'm always like, when people say they can do it, I'm like, you guys are awesome. Because Saturday afternoon is precious. And I know how precious
Yes.
it is for a working mother or to be here on a Saturday afternoon. So thank you so much. I want to say God bless you. Thank you so much for
And
coming
you
here.
too. Thanks for
And
having me.
I hope you enjoy the rest of your day and have a beautiful week next week.
All right. Thank you
All
very
right.
much for having me. Yeah. Bye, everyone.
Bye. So thank you so much for coming to this call. If you're here, I know you're watching online. Thank you for being here. Hopefully I'm sure that you've picked one or two or three things from this session, because it's been a very impactful one. It looks like simple things shared, but very, very salient things. Because most of the time, it's the things that we neglect that really germane in our journey. So please listen over and over again. As a person, I'm going to listen again. I'm going to take action. She said, write down what are the things I'm going to start doing right now, towards my goal, towards being improved on my career and towards my career journey. I can't really put out exactly how she asked that question, but I want you to really go and answer those questions with yourself. Be very, very truthful and honest with yourself and take active steps. Take very deliberate steps towards the journey you want to end. Take the steps towards the destination you want to get to. Till I see you next month, we'll have an amazing speaker next month. So please don't miss it. If you've not listened to any of our videos before, please go down and listen to. We have amazing content on this channel for you, in the area of business, in the area of career. You want to listen to them. And when you listen to them, you want to drop a like, drop a comment. And if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please subscribe. If you have friends that you know that this is what they need, please be a good friend. Share this channel with them. And if you want to, have a mentor from any of the speakers we've had, if you registered, you would have a mail sent to you, so you can reply on that mail with such information. All right, till I see you next month. Please be good and keep being a success. Have a great time.